baby beard.
All right, I'm a delivery boy.
Who is Hermes planning on killing?
I think we should let the orphans run free.
You've redeemed funds.
Yeah, exactly.
You haven't.
He's just an old guy.
Can we talk about Evil Lincoln?
Oh, of course.
Oh, this art needs to be sent. That's not the voice at all.
That's lobster tail.
Let's make it the
Look,
Christmas.
let me ask you this.
He was just about to agree with you.
Shut up and take my podcast.
Okay.
Prune juice works really well, Phil. I'm just
Okay,
gonna
thanks.
say.
Thanks. Now taking tips.
What is the name of the
Wow, I feel good.
What's his name?
James Brown.
Thank you. I was going to call you James Brown, and I could not
okay.
think of the damn name.
I love.
I was going to say Jerry
like
Lewis.
To do
and
with
that's-
Jerry Lewis.
There you go. I was gonna, so I was right. Hey.
Jerry Lewis. Shut up. Take my podcast.
Your face is going so red right now. I don't think being Jerry Lewis is good for you.
Oh, I
So
don't feel good.
welcome
Good for
everybody
many people.
to Shut Up and Take My Podcast Side Mission, where we deviate from our regularly scheduled programming to bring you something different because you deserve it.
You know, because we stay on topic so much of the time.
Yeah. And it's not because the Blu-ray for the new season hasn't arrived yet.
No,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Nothing to do with that.
So I
That's
realized,
why we're
by the
doing
way,
this.
we are a Futurama podcast. If this is the first episode you're starting on, don't
No.
Bad. Go back to
Don't.
the beginning.
and make your way. However, usually side missions happen for 3 reasons. One, there's something important to talk about, like Radiorama that just came out. That's a plug for our very important Radiorama episode. Very timely. 2 is that we've kind of capped off a series or capped off something, and it's a retrospective of our retrospective podcast.
Yep.
Very meta. Or number 3, we're stalling for time. So in this
That's the secret reason.
And occasionally, if we drop off or gain, or I don't know, if we bring someone on that hasn't been brought on before.
yes.
So
Yes.
that's
I think we only did that with you.
So
oh.
with the new series, I knew that they came out in Blu-ray format, and I thought, well, I'll go buy the Blu-rays. And it turns out Australia has recalled every single Futurama Blu-ray.
Oh,
Why were they defective? Were they killing people or something?
it's a really good plot for a movie, Phil.
Deadly DVDs.
I called JB, and I don't know if JB Hi-Fi is just an Australian only.
I think it
I
is.
think it
Pretty
is.
sure, yeah.
Our premiere.
It's our HMV.
Yes, thank you. And they said, no, there's none in the store. I go, do you want us to check the other stores? Yes, please. There's none anywhere in any stores.
Futurama's been banned.
I was like, do you have a DVD? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, well, it wasn't his voice at all.
I was going to say,
Yeah, talking to
What?
Enos. Oh, hello.
is that why the DVDs were missing?
Oh, no.
Because it makes them look bad. So they've just put them to the back shelf.
But long story short, I think he reckons that he thought maybe they're bringing out a new release of it, so they're recalling it, they're doing the new covers, etc. I don't know.
Why?
But basically, the long story short is I've now gone on eBay and I'm waiting for it to come in, and I think it doesn't come in until next week. So,
Enjoy, everyone.
So you get us talking about...
well, I thought because we've just hit the end of the movies, so both Ellen. By the way, I'm throwing this on you. I'm joined here by Phil
Hi.
and by Ellen.
Holy shit, I was not ready for that.
I know.
Were we meant
Hello.
to come up with a thing like
Yeah.
we normally do?
Yeah.
We're joined by Sean, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Hey guys, I'm hosting this thing apparently.
Very loose. Like, you've got the reins so loose in your
So-
hand.
2 years of experience, guys. That's what it sounds like.
means nothing. I've also had 3 years of acting training, and that means
Oh,
nothing.
that
at
means
all.
less than nothing.
No.
That actively harms you.
So I thought it'd be interesting to talk about what our expectations are for the new series, because we kind of touched on the way that the movies were perceived and kind of where we retrospectively landed on them at the end. And
Yeah.
I realized that both Ellen and myself has never seen a full episode of the new run. Phil, you've seen...
I don't know which ones I've seen. I mean, I've never really watched them in order before. So I'm unsure about which bits I've seen from where.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact that I have seen the first episode of the second run.
Rebirth.
Yes, because I remember one joke in it very distinctly, which is when they say they're on a more central channel, and Amy goes, I get it!
Does that tickle you?
Yes, it does, because I love
Comedy
meta
Central,
humor.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I found it really... it was art imitating life, because as soon as we transitioned from the movies to the new season, we got picked up by a network as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
yeah.
We are now on the A Lot of Green podcasting network.
Yeah, which is all to do with original Australian content.
So yeah, I guess initially what I wanted to talk about is what are you expecting from the new season? Are you expecting it to look the elephant's in the room? Are you expecting a dip in quality? Are you expecting them to take the Simpsons approach and it just kind of gets too meta and to like kind of really?
Yeah.
Well, I know from what you've been saying as we go through the movies that several writers and directors
have been
finished
dropping
at
off.
the movies, so they're going to have a new set of writers, and that makes me a little bit nervous. Maybe not for all 3 seasons, but I feel like new writers will maybe need time to capture the spirit of Futurama.
They need to like ease into the style.
Yeah.
And it's because so many of them dropped off either during the movies or after the movies. That how long had they been working on Futurama at that point? You know.
Well, because the original series is 4 years worth, and then there was a 4-year hiatus, to which then the movies came out over like a year period.
Yeah,
and then they kept going for another 2-3 years.
And
after that.
so, I think I think it was the very first movie. I felt like they needed time to warm into it.
Yeah,
and those were writers.
Even the
that
voices,
had been,
right?
Yeah, and those were people who'd been in the show for several years at that point. So it'll be certainly very interesting to see what new blood brings to. I say new, I mean
it could be positive. You know, they could have a fresher take on it, new energy. Sean, this is the point where you tell us who the writers are for the new season because you researched that.
Yes, absolutely.
Moving on.
Ken Keeler.
Well,
well, I can tell you actually someone that will pop up in the new series is Kristen Gore, so Al Gore's daughter.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause Kristen Gore-
you brought that up, I think, at in a previous episode.
Yeah, probably the last environmental episode. Because,
Yeah.
you know, nothing says nepotism like... From the other way around, like I think Kristen Gore got Al Gore his job
Nice.
on Futurama. Because I know she was involved in Futurama but she never had a writing
Guys, my
credit.
dad's still relevant.
He just wants to talk about global warming.
It's good fun. Like,
Get him out of the house.
Also, it's just weird that like he actively publicly said Futurama is one of my favorite television shows, and then he got a gig on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Futurama is one of my favorite television shows.
Oh, they're cancelled.
Oh, fuck.
Money is one of my favorite things. No? Anyway?
Oh, money falling from the sky!
Speaking of like kind
Venmo
of
me,
time
people.
changing the voice actors, have you watched Ellen Radiorama? Heard Radiorama yet? The podcast when they brought back.
No, I haven't.
'Cause
Because I'm a bad person and I don't do the research.
Because when we did it, one of the things we brought up is there's just
You said
some
they
of the voices
sounded
sounded a bit off, and we weren't sure whether that was just the way that they're edited in post-production or if it was that time had kind of got them to forget how they played the characters, or just that kind of really unique style of the voice. It was like
A couple of the voices kind of drifted together slightly from the same actors. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that happens when you're doing 5 apiece.
Yeah, and they're doing them in like real time, right? They're doing them from a script.
Yeah. One of my favorite things is to watch different voice actors doing their stuff, but usually you kind of do it in a whole chunk. Whereas watching behind the scenes on something like Rick and Morty, it's just Justin Roiland going back and forth to himself. It's a really huge talent to just be able to kind of switch on and off.
Yeah.
And hold it like it is a normal conversation. If you closed your eyes, then you would just visualize those two characters talking to each other, which is a really, really hard thing to do, especially when because Justin Roiland does all those non-speech sounds like and you know that's hard to come in on top of. Yeah.
Well, because there's a clip online you can actually see Seth MacFarlane. Seth MacFarlane, like he's in the studio, and there's a scene.
No, he is very talented. I just fucking hate Family
Peter
Guy.
Griffin, Stewie Griffin, and Brian in a 3-way conversation.
Yeah.
And it's just Seth MacFarlane, and it's about a 3-minute scene. He's just going back and forward. Like, granted, Brian is pretty much his voice.
Yeah.
But I'd just have an aneurysm if I did that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't deal.
There's experience there as well.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah. So I'm hoping that it feels the same. That's I guess what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You
Would
don't
you-
want to feel an incongruous gap in tone, in quality of
That's what I was going to
jokes.
say. Would you feel upset if, say, it turned into kind of almost a different product, but it lost some of the, I hate to say brand, but yeah, that kind of thing. That
I mean, I would feel that would be alienating and probably
Yeah.
be the most disappointing thing. On the other side of that coin, the characters are very, very well established.
Yes.
They know what they're writing for.
yeah.
The actors are going to be all the same. So I feel like it would be unlikely for that to happen, that it would just suddenly feel like something completely different.
Yeah.
I think what's more likely is maybe the quality of the gags and the storylines are
I'm
not
thinking
as good.
storylines might get a lot less cohesive. That's just my inklings. I
It's
think
kinda-
it would be hard to screw up the characters because they're the only kind of continuous thing with the series.
It's kind of hard to explain it, but because Simpsons really fell into that trap
Yeah.
of, in the earlier seasons, it was about, let's take these characters and let's build a narrative that fits those characters and then see how those characters relate in that
Yeah.
circumstance, whether
Yeah.
it's dealing with adultery or dealing with, the house is up for it's going to be, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Demolished?
Demolished, or there is that episode as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
and it makes sense, and it doesn't feel kind of enforced upon the characters, whereas in newer seasons it feels like they're trying to ride a trend, or they're
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
get as many cameos.
It's a bit
It was
gimmicky,
never,
isn't it?
it was never part of kind of. It was the zeitgeist. It wasn't trying to capture what's trendy out there. Whereas I feel like it is that way now, where they have things like iPads and in the old Simpsons, it was kind of, yes, they would put modern things in, but the
It didn't
Well,
the
feel
place of
shoehorned.
Springfield still felt kind of weirdly timeless.
Yeah.
Like it didn't matter what era it was in, whereas newer ones are very, very kind of current, and I feel like that, that makes it lose some of its magic.
Episodes had gimmicks as well, but they weren't necessarily
Yeah.
very graspy. So two that
And
stand
some
out
of them
are
were
like,
really weird gimmicks as well.
Yeah.
That you could tell. Oh, this isn't trying to like capture something that will #trend the show.
What is it
It's
called?
just a weird idea.
22 short stories about Springfield or whatever, where it's just
yeah.
there's about 20
All the
different
side
stories, which is where
characters.
steamed ham comes from.
yes, yes. The ones I'm thinking of that have,
Aurora Borealis.
the ones I'm thinking of that have like a strong gimmick are the Prohibition episode, the Beer Baron episode,
Yep.
and Sherry Bobbins.
Yeah.
Those are like very conceptual episodes. Even the Vision Quest episode with the soulmate. Those all three of those have a very strong gimmick, and some of them are like a pop. You know, Sherry Bobbins is a pretty pop culture reference, but they don't. They didn't do like, or even the Scorpio episode, which is a Bond ripoff.
Yeah.
They didn't do that to like hijack the back of a Bond wave.
Exactly.
Or, like Mary,
Mary Poppins
Poppins
wasn't coming
it
out.
was-
It wasn't
No.
like super
Yeah,
relevant.
It was still The Simpsons, but with
Yes,
as
that's
opposed
right.
to this with The Simpsons kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that's right. It's a difference in focus and emphasis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas with Futurama, I feel like that, especially up until this point, they've been very kind of careful with how they address cameos and how they incorporate guest voice actors on the show. Like they haven't shoehorned them in. Like Sarah Silverman is Michelle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, occasionally you have characters playing themselves,
Yes,
like
Conan O'Brien.
Penn, Gillette,
Beastie
as an
Boys.
announcer, Beastie Boys. You've got
It doesn't feel overdone.
Snoop Dogg,
Snoop Dogg.
head of the Supreme Court.
Is it actually Martha Stewart?
Oh, that's a good
in
question.
Iron Chef.
Yeah.
Maybe. I can't
think
remember.
it might be someone's voice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But they're always kind of integrated into the world in some
Yeah.
way, usually.
And it's usually like with people like Snoop Dogg and Donovan, which we had to look up.
Yeah.
Donovan?
Yeah, he was in the Deep South episode. He was
He's a folk artist.
Oh, okay.
yeah, we
All
had
right,
the same reaction. But like usually they're not the focus of the entire episode. They have their place for a gag or a scene.
Yeah.
And then generally, or if they are the focus of an entire episode, like Beck, it just
Yeah.
fits.
Yeah.
It's really
Beck is
inspired
such a good
casting.
cameo.
Whereas I think that's not my concern, but I hope that they don't really go full, let's just put all cameos into the show and
Yeah.
let's get, I don't know, who's relevant in 2011. I don't know. Hugh Laurie.
Dr. House just throwing
Yeah,
Dr. House.
It's
The other thing is like I really wonder if they might run out of steam in terms of plots and concepts to do. Sci-fi is a pretty broad genre that has a lot of things to draw on. So I'm not too worried. But you might start to feel like the combinations of characters will start to play themselves out.
Yeah.
That's another concern.
like, where do they go with Fry and Leela for the
Yes.
next 2
Yeah.
seasons? How,
Yeah.
like, is there I wonder, for example, my question is going to be, will there be a period of time where, like, over a multi-episode arc, will Fry and Leela actually be dating?
Yeah.
Because I don't think we've actually seen them to this point dating.
We haven't. We've seen like their their parallel universe selves.
Yes, where
Dark-haired
they're
versions.
happily in love.
Yeah, but we haven't seen them really.
Yeah, because we had Kif and Amy broken up for a total time of 1 movie.
Yes.
And then they're
It
the
was
status
never
quo.
gonna stick.
I was very intrigued to know if they were gonna
No.
kind of sit with that. And
They love each other.
I know that there are some really powerful moments coming up that are loved by the community.
Okay.
So there's one with Fry and
his
mum.
mum, yes.
Yeah.
And there is like Fry and Leela's like third final encounter, which involves a big message written with rocks.
Okay.
By Leela to Fry.
It's not the
and
one
that's
that-
well loved.
It's
as
not
well.
the one that Bender writes on the set.
No, it's almost as long.
Pardon
though.
me if you're reading this.
Or I think there is the episode I'm looking forward to, as well as I think I mentioned a few episodes ago, which is another kind of Tales of Interest style episode. But
Ooh.
instead of being 3 random stories, there are 3 stories that are random, but are in different animation styles.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much when shows that are animated just really switch up the.
I like
the
on
medium.
webcomics as well, and they have guest comics come in
Yeah.
and draw the
Yeah.
same characters.
I'm trying to
but in
remember
different styles.
one of my favorite long time running animated series now finished, Adventure Time. They've done it a few times where they've had.
Are they done?
They are, unfortunately. It was a oh no,
Okay,
a
let
really
it out.
beautiful ending.
He
as
just
well.
fell out the window.
Yeah, Adventure Time. I cannot stress how much I freaking love that series. But yeah,
the one that
there's-
comes to mind for me, it may not be the animation style, but it's the Muppet episode of Angel. Where they just decide
With
the
the
Angel's
crystal
a
puppets.
fucking Muppet for,
Yeah.
for
After
for
you
an
guys
episode. It's
talked about
so
that
good.
about a week or so ago, my housemate, so Costa, he watched it.
He was watching.
So
Angel.
I watched about 5 minutes ago. What the fuck is going on? It's amazing.
It's genius.
Yeah.
It really is genius.
Yeah, but animation gives you so much more room to play with. Like,
Yeah,
there's
that's true.
There's, I'm not sure if it's Adventure Time or Gravity Falls, but there's bits of claymation in there.
The Simpsons does it
yeah.
with a 3D
That
animated
4D
episode.
one,
oh,
Yeah,
where he
there's-
like goes into
it's-
the 4th dimension, and
it's
it's
like
really
a-
weird.
and he ends up in the real
In the real world, yeah. I think it's a Treehouse of
It
Horror.
is.
It
episode,
is.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that in a cinema. Weirdly.
Oh wow. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what.
I think they put the wrong
don't
reel
know
on your.
what-
Yeah.
I don't know what. It
But
was.
the
It must have
projection
been.
burned out,
It
so
must
they
have been
just-
some weird, like it showing you different, like short, not films, because that's an episode. But I remember seeing that,
Okay.
and I think it was like it must have been
An animation showcase or something.
Actually, I think that's right because they had the Animatrix as well.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah. There you go.
yet to see that.
But it must have been edited because
got
I
it
was a
somewhere.
child at the time. So
So here's a question for you.
anyway, back
Where
on
would
track.
you like to see all these characters end up?
Well, several of them I would like to see not change at all. So Zoidberg can just be Zoidberg forever.
I'd like him to win, maybe just once.
Only briefly. Though.
Okay.
Just short.
Followed by a crushing loss.
Yeah, I don't think.
No,
I don't think Farnsworth needs to have
No.
a lot of evolution.
he should just stay his
He's
beautiful
He's
self.
perfect. He doesn't need to change. I think Scruffy can just be Scruffy.
Yeah.
That's fine. Maybe Hermes we can have a bit of growth in Hermes.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some of the side characters gain a bit more depth to them. I know they've already sort of started to do it with Amy. We've seen a little bit of Hermes' past,
Yeah.
and the world that he comes from, and the bureaucrats.
Yeah.
I feel like they're
Those
not going to be able to
characters-
help themselves, and
I-
Scruffy's going to be a lot more prominent in this news. I
really hope
bet
not.
you there will be at
There's-
least an episode that focuses entirely on
He's,
Scruffy.
he's in quite a lot of the movies.
Yeah,
He
I think they're
is.
like, kind of they're testing the waters a bit.
Yeah. He's still the same idea, though, which
Scruffy's
is where,
ready.
who the hell are you? And they're like, Scruffy. And they're like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, sure.
Scruffy's ready to take on more responsibility.
he does his 3 things, which is what he says something weirdly like why I was going to say
Wise.
wise beyond his years, but he's
pretty
probably
old.
pretty old. Yeah, something quite wise and enigmatic. He reads a porno magazine and
And he's on break.
Yeah,
And is a butler sometimes, if Fry gets famous. Yeah, I think Fry and Leela needs to be treated carefully.
that's my concern because my big thing when I came out of Avengers Infinity War was okay. The
Bear with me.
No, yeah,
How's
okay.
this going back? Okay.
I know that's contentious, but the biggest like
Vision and
no, not
No, okay.
who the fuck cares about
Shut up,
them?
Phil.
To be honest, really, Gamora and Peter.
oh right, okay.
I
yeah.
felt like the 2 movies, the 2 Guardians of the Galaxy movies, were really great and also pretty relevant to Fry and Leela in the will they, won't they.
that's a
but
good
also-
analogy.
Yeah, and both the movies clearly state no, they can't be yet because they need to really grow in their own. Like it spends so much movies giving equal time to why is Peter fucked up? Why is Gamora fucked up? What do they need to address themselves to fix this issue? And how is them being together, like, if they were together right now, how would that not help them grow? So that's why those 2 movies at the end, like, they don't end up together. And then in Infinity War, they just kind of go and say, I love you more than anything in the world. And I'm like, it's not earned yet. Especially when we've had those 2 movies going, why? It's
But
not
I feel like
earned.
we've earned Fry and Leela at the end of
Yeah.
Oh,
season
yeah.
4.
I
Right?
have to say, at the very end, I want them together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want them together.
I feel like we're going to see both Fry and Leela date
A
other
lot
people.
more. A lot more.
Because
You gotta
that's
keep-
one way of exploring their characters is
Yeah.
to pair them up with different strangers and see how they react in different situations.
You got to see
It's kind of a staple of the series,
Oh,
right?
I remembered another pairing that I know happens in the new series.
Oh.
Is Bender and Amy date at one point.
Oh, the robosexuality
Yes.
episode. I think I've
What?
seen that too.
Yes.
What?
Bender and Amy.
Is in the original run? Is there one about electricity? Is that in the original?
Electricity, what, in the sense of...
Drug for robots.
Yes, that's
in the original run.
Because then that's when Bender finds... Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the robosexuality episode is in the new run. I have
Yes.
seen that. Yeah,
Robots are pretty,
that's a good pairing.
Robots are pretty sexy.
Yeah, I think so.
I wonder if there'll be any other pairings, like Hermes and Fry.
Wait,
I don't think we've seen them
we
much
say,
do much
Didn't we
together.
say we? I think we all agreed on this pairing. I can't remember. It was the
The Bender and Zoidberg pairing?
no Hermes and Zoidberg.
Oh, well,
anyone
they're
remember
slowly...
that?
I mean, they are...
Does anyone still think about that sometimes?
Phil and I have
I
talked
thought
about...
it was cute.
James, Phil, and myself
cute.
have always been wanting kind of a buddy episode with Bender and Zoidberg.
Because I've said this before, but maybe I'll just reiterate it quickly. My theory about Bender and Zoidberg is that they are an opposite pairing.
Yes.
Such that Bender is utterly horrible and selfish, and everybody loves him.
Yeah.
Whereas Zoidberg is
Zoidberg.
lovely and generous, and everybody hates him.
Aw.
And so they have had a pairing before, but it wasn't the focus of a whole episode. It was a dog show.
Yes.
That's right.
His
Where Bender
whooping
brings
whooping
Zoidberg
lobster?
as his pet.
Yes.
Yeah. Which was hilarious and brilliant, and I loved it so
Yeah.
much.
So we'd like to see more of them together.
I would love to see a whole episode.
A lot of pairings with Zoidberg are actually quite.
Yeah, he's a
Zoidberg
good
and most
foil.
people.
What
He's a
was
good
the-
foil.
We
Was
had
it-
Zoidberg and Leela
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
What was that?
having dinner at his parents' house
Oh,
down the
yes,
street. Like he
yeah.
just
Her
came
parents
along.
were like, well, he's a doctor, honey. So good.
I thought you meant like a whole long plot line.
No,
Yeah.
we haven't had many. That'd be interesting. Have we had many episodes so far where they kind of shun the majority of the cast and just focus on like maybe
Side
side
characters.
characters.
yeah, or
like
just,
I feel like maybe an Amy Kiff episode kind of usually punts the others to a
Kif
slightly
gets knocked up a
smaller role.
notch at the beginning of season
Yeah.
4. Bam.
Yeah.
The other characters really aren't that
No,
present.
I think Fry's. I can't remember. Fry had like little to no arc in that
Yeah.
episode. It's
He also
Bender
has...
gets some solo episodes.
Yeah.
like
I don't know that I want to see Bender without the rest of the cast. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I really love the God one, whatever it's called.
Godfellas.
Godfellas.
Yeah.
Godfellas is one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, and he doesn't interact with the
That's
rest
true,
of the cast.
but he's
in the
not
whole
interacting
episode.
with anyone apart from God. Do you know? What I mean?
Well, he has his munchkins, whatever they're called.
Malachi and the
Yeah, they have the species have a
We
name.
keep forgetting this every time we get
Forgetting
further
everything.
away from the episode. Yeah, it's more just I would hate it to become a thing of like Bender's our wacky, loved by all character. Let's put him in let's put him in a different situation, see what happens.
well, he's a precocious little scamp.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Bender.
My one thing I wanted to talk about is this. We touched on this before, but this weird reaction where people just forget that the next 3 seasons exist at all.
Yeah.
Which
Does that mean they're
there
because
was a long hiatus, right,
Yeah.
between the original season and the new season.
Because
that may be part of
in
it.
that hiatus, I don't think
8 years.
one of the reasons I don't think I ever saw the re-release is because whatever it was airing on, I didn't then have at that time.
Yeah.
Like if it was on Foxtel or no, it was Comedy Central.
So once again, for anyone overseas, we had the normal TV. Normal
is a
TV
nightmare.
is what we called it, which had 5 channels, and we had Futurama originally on that network, and then
Yeah.
we had our cable service provider Foxtel. But I don't know if the new seasons were ever on there. I got rid of Foxtel.
I
by
don't
the time.
think so either. Whenever I'm
Foxtel's also an horrendous rort.
Yeah.
So,
but I remember we had the Foxtel box set, and Futurama was constantly like playing, but it was always reruns of the original season.
yeah.
It's worth noting
I feel
Futurama was on Netflix in America. It was only recently taken off.
Yes.
We never had it on there because Foxtel had the rights to it.
Hulu it went
Oh.
on to, I think.
Hulu,
Yeah.
yes.
So I watched Futurama in the UK on our cable service, which my parents had, and I feel similarly. Like most of what was showing was on a channel called Sky One. Sky is basically our Foxtel.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember it being mostly original run stuff. I feel like I watched the stuff I have watched of the second run has been at a friend's house. I have a friend called Saxon, and she loves Futurama.
Yeah.
And I feel like we would just put it on while we were playing cards, and that's where I got most of it. And that kind of segs me into, I think, that people who liked Futurama but weren't sort of diehard fans, maybe just sort of
They weren't going
Kind
to
of-
seek it out.
yeah,
kind
they
of
didn't really
thing.
get back into it in the new
Yeah.
run. But people who freaking adored it and were
Yeah.
waiting for it
There
to come
the
back,
second it came out.
they
Well, that
have definitely watched.
It
The
kind of
second run.
reminds me of the whole Firefly debacle. Like, because Foxtel being dicks, like, aired them out of sequence. They changed, schedule. Like, it would never be on a regular schedule. So, and even though, Firefly has such a kind of rabid fan base,
Now.
like, devoted.
Yeah.
And there were people at the time who were just like, trying to figure out when the fuck it was airing so that they could watch it. But for the layman, who's going to spend that much time?
Yeah,
Do you
people
know
who
what
are
I
on
mean?
the fence are not going to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably what happened a little bit, and that's why people go,
Like,
"Oh,
it's-
there was a second run."
It's just so strange the amount of people are saying, "Oh, you're done now, aren't you?" We're like, "What? No, we're about
No.
halfway."
Yeah, if I wasn't doing that, that's probably what I would think. I'd be
yeah,
like,
there's almost as many episodes, right?
Yeah.
To go on the flip side, we're talking about our fears about what we might not want to happen, blah, blah, blah. You know, I think there's going to be
I'm
some
pretty
great
psyched.
episodes in there as well. I
Yes.
think there's going to be some ones where they really nail it.
Yeah.
There's such a solid foundation in terms of what you were saying before, Ellen, about how good the characters are already set and how great those characters are. If just throwing ideas at the wall, they're going to get something with
Yeah.
those characters that works.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
going to be great. So I'm quite hopeful that we're going to... I think it's more a matter of like proportion of quality rather than it just being bad.
It might be similar to not that sorry to keep going back to Simpsons all the time, but like
I thought we were going back to Infinity War.
No. Oh, Infinity War!
Back to
Don't
Ant-Man
get
and
me
the Wasp,
started. No, but there's so many. Like for a time in the Simpsons run, every episode was and still is insanely quotable, just really tight stories.
Gold.
And even though I'm not talking about seasons now, but maybe kind of around 8 or so, like you've still got such a pretty high quality, and the same thing. The characters are pretty. I mean, they don't really change ever.
Yeah, and they've got good archetypes.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So I miss your everyman, and yeah.
But there's just there starts to be a point when they're less memorable.
Yeah, it's not as much a sure thing that every episode is going to be.
Yeah, that doesn't mean to go say that
run.
if you went back and watched some of them, you wouldn't go, "Oh, this is a great episode." But yeah, there's just something about the way that pop culture embeds into our brains, which I think so much of Futurama original run has done. Like there's most episodes I've come away with going, yeah, I remember that quote. I remember that bit. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what's the kind of long-lasting effect of the new run.
And I think as far as updating it 8 years later, I'll be interested to see how they utilize, because they pop into high definition now, got 8 years of experience under their belt in terms of what we can do in animation, just to see if it's more visually stunning.
Hopefully they use more of the 3D animation stuff.
Yeah.
Because I always really enjoy it when they
It's
integrate
really
it
cool,
smoothly.
yeah.
And
Especially-
I don't think there's ever a time where it's glaringly out of place. It
No.
always feels just about right. The one that always sticks in my head is when they're going through the near Death Star. I think it just looks awesome.
Yeah. Or anything
really
to do with the
nice.
ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
beautiful.
I think
Like-
of the honking as well. Honking has a lot of seamless transitions between 2 and 3D, most of which you don't really notice.
Yeah.
But with the car and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
wear car, sorry. Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to get really mad at you.
Oh, they will. I'll go on to Reddit again.
Oh,
Don't
Oh.
go on Reddit.
now we've talked about Infinity War.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, and you know what? As a final thing, just to update people, Season 1 winner, When Aliens Attack.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2 winner, Mother's Day. Season 3 winner, Roswell That Ends Well. Season 4 winner, The Sting. And film winner, Into the Wild Green Yonder. So we have 2 more to go.
Yeah.
A bit of an oversight in that our gauntlet battle, our tournament battle is going to have 7 contestants.
Oh.
So
There are only 2. I thought there were 3. It's 2 seasons.
2 massive seasons.
Right.
They do, yeah.
Okay.
By broadcast standards, yes.
Yeah.
Alright.
Sorry, by production standards. You know what I mean. Maybe we can throw.
I never know what you mean.
Throw Fanorama into it.
Because it's
Yeah.
it's the only
It's
one
the
of
only
its
podcast.
kind.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to do another one. I think they kind of put all their eggs into that one basket.
Yeah.
Fanorama, not Radiorama.
Oh, right.
could put-
Sorry, yeah.
We can put Radiorama in as well.
Put
That makes
Radiorama,
sense.
it's the best podcast that they've ever done, with a controversial podcasting figure.
And as a
Anyway,
as a
just
sign
look up
off,
Chris Hardwick.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh,
as a
no.
sign off, can you pick what you think to yourself is the best voice you have done so far that you can do
That I've done.
the best?
Fucking done.
Only because I do it all the fucking time.
I won. Let's
You're
do
doing
it.
it.
Let's do it.
Doing it on the way
You're doing
upstairs.
It's a butt.
And how would that go, Phil?
Oh, perhaps you can come home with me and Jumbe and we can compare notes.
Ajano, you know what? Let's do this in the form of our call to action. So we will say our call to action as our characters. So remember, Farnsworth, if you'd like to contact me for any reason, you can do so at babybeardmedia@gmail.com. I hate you.
Oh, and please,
I don't think
If
I've
you
ever done a good voice, guys.
if you can go on the socials, Facebook, perhaps, if you have the time, perhaps type out a little message to one of us and we may respond.
I might try and do one that I haven't done before,
Oh,
just
go
because
for
it's.
it.
Ooh.
I might just try and do Freya Waterfall because she's just a woman with a really deep voice, guys. And remember that we also are on Instagram, but not that beauty means anything, you corporate monsters. And did you say the thing about iTunes?
No, I didn't. Oh, shit.
Go on iTunes and spread the word. 5 stars for all my feministas.
Or perhaps you could go on Spreaker as well to find all of our lovely podcasts.
It is lovely.
But until that time, I've been Wanstrom, Sean. Sean.
No, I'm hedonism filled.
I'm Ellen Waterfall.
And goodbye, and Phil and Ellen hate me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true.
Oh.
Hate is such a delectable emotion.
Down with the patriarchy.
Down with Sean.
Turned into half hedonism, but half real.
One strum.
Oh, yeah, so we'll see you next week for Rebirth, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh.
He has been breathing the common air. That's
We
on
thought
me.
we'd capture the women's. No.
No. Okay.
Also, we're not for capturing women's. That's capturing their audience, their ears.
Right.
We're not actually
Let them
capturing.
Capturing women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Or,
Coney
you know,
2012.
free range. Give them what's the area? What's the radius that they need to have?
Incredibly small.
Like this
These
bed-
things are free
like
range.
this bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
you can't
if
leave
you're
here.
lucky.
Oh,
This is your domain now. But it's yours.
I'm gonna do
that's
that.
nice.
Yeah. I don't know where I'm living now.
They call them sandwich artists at Subway.
It's pretty hard.
There's nothing artistic about 99% of the sandwiches I
Oh,
get there.
What about what's the
At 1%, you're just like, that was a good fucking
Yeah.
sandwich.
Chris, add
It's
this
a
in.
bit of a weird tangent, I guess. I have been reading Neuromancer.
Yes.
Because it's great. I finished it. It's the first book I finished in ages. Felt
Yep.
real good. They meet like a bunch of like Rastas in space who have their own space station. It's really cool. Anyway, they
Where's this going?
have stenciled on loads of stuff. They have the Lion of Zion,
Yeah,
which is a thing.
yeah.
It's a symbol of Rastafarianism. It's the Lion of Zion.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's why Hermes does his rhyming animal thing. It's a riff on the Lion of Zion. I didn't fucking realise that's what it was.
We solved Futurama.